Come on in, guys. Really quickly. Really quickly, really quickly. Come on in. We have to talk. We have to talk real quick, real quick. I'm going to let y'all go to bed. Actually, I'm going to read y'all a bedtime story. Come on in for a bedtime story. Come on in, guys. So, I wanted to show you guys some updates for the petition. And I also want to read you guys a document concerning Indians versus white people that I got out of their files. Okay. It's a file where they were sitting here basically contemplating on how to wipe out the brown race of people. Now, we're not going to get into the whole black and brown semantics that they do today, acting as if historically we're not the ones with brown skin. I'm not going to get into the debate. Back in the 1700s, early 1800s, these people were very descriptive. You was either white or you was a darky. It was if you was in between white and darky, you was a mulatto, a quadroon, or octoroon. Okay? Either way, if you was between white and a darky, anything in between is a half breed by their standards. Okay? By their standards. So that's what we're gonna discuss today. So share the live when you come in, click like so that I'll know who's all in here. Hi Jane. Hi Regina. Coming in, guys. Hi Brand Slayer. Hey guys. Come on in. I'm not gonna be on here long, guys, and I promise, because I know some people have to be to work tomorrow. I've been ripping and running all day. So for the I'm gonna show y'all this. So with the campaign, right? I set my sights on this thing being a self-promoting mechanism, if you will. So click like, guys. Click like and come in. So let me explain this really quick. And then I'm going to read y'all a bedtime story about brown Indians and white people. I thought that this was something that promotes itself because when I signed up for change.org, it basically asks me to put money in for promotion, right? So I was under the impression that it would promote, as we put money in. So they automatically ask when a person shares their name, they automatically ask for a donation. And that donation goes to them promoting the campaign, right? So it's almost as if you don't have to pay for any other promotion service or send out emails yourself. They're gonna handle it, right? So as you can see here, we have 425 petition views. That's it. That's it. That's it. Right? So, what we're supposed to have is 5,868 petition views, which means everybody who's donating, including myself, they're not. See, this is how much we have contributed in less than 24 hours. So this is how many views we're supposed to have and signatures, and they're supposed to push it out specifically to the people that's in the tag, like the Black community. And also, once you get to 100 signatures, they're supposed to reach out to the United States Supreme Court contact on our behalf. That hasn't happened, nor has this happened. So now I was asking people, when they ask you to promote, just skip that. Skip that. Because I don't know why they're not promoting this. Now, I could take a good guess. I could take a good guess. However, they're not promoting it at all. As you can see, we only have 425 views. And you know, I reached out to them. I asked them, hey, when are you guys going to start promoting? I haven't heard back from them as of yet. When these petitions go out, because I put money in early on and other people was putting money in early on, our petition was supposed to gain traction yesterday, but it hasn't really gained traction unless, you know, beyond us sharing it to like the people in our phone. And I can almost guess, you know, why. But this here doesn't seem like it's something that's very controversial, but they're reading this still. You know, yeah, we have enough money in here. We have enough money in here. I had to contribute first. So we have enough money in here for them to start promoting, because that's what change.org do. Like, it's not a service where you can donate to the person who is doing the petition. No, you have to donate to change.org, and they act as a marketing company. They're just not marketing us right now. So we have 5,868 purchased views, and they have not they're not promoting us right now, guys. So, and like I said, I was going on my day to day. I said, all right, I'm not gonna worry about it too much because change.org is doing their thing. And when I checked back on it, I was like, wait a minute, they ain't doing nothing. So I'm gonna start promoting. I've already started composing just like a cute little, email, little text thing to start sending out on tomorrow. And I'm going to just ramp up promotion on my end. Probably more so TikTok. I don't know. My Facebook is just, I'm shadow banned on Facebook, shadow banned on IG. So I'll do probably more stuff on TikTok, and probably buy like an ad or something on TikTok. Because I think people would actually love this. Everybody so far who has seen it, guys, please click like in here because I'm actually going to read y'all a document as well, that I found in the government system. Okay. They've been studying us for a very long time. Um, Everybody who I like, all my friends, family, and people who have seen this, everybody think it's great. They think, it's an actual great thing. I made one change, guys, and I think we got it. I made one little bitty change. Somebody just gave me a thumbs down. They must don't like it. Golly. I just got a thumbs down because somebody want me to crash out, but I'm not. I'm gonna crash out. Um, but change.org was pushing me to get 100 signatures. That's all. They was like, just get 100 signatures, and then we'll send this to your, contact, which is, the department. I mean, the U.S. Supreme Court. So here's the change I made, guys. Please click like in here because it ain't, like I said, there ain't even enough people in here right now on this pop up live for anybody to click thumbs down. That means, there's someone in here that just really does not like this. You must work for change.org or something. Anyway, here is, and y'all let me know what y'all think. Okay, the tiny little change that I made when we got off the live last night, because somebody said just make it American Indian. And I'm like, well, maybe if I, because in the description that I put, it's already, it says Indian in the description. So as you can see on the screen, this is what I added in the American category, and the description on the census will be people are birthright citizens with origins in any of the original colored people or Indian tribes of North America. So I added colored people, which would include, I mean, all of us, everybody, all the darkies of the world, because we are the ones who are historically left out of any kind of Aboriginal, indigenous claim, or not even claim, more so respect. We don't get respect as the oldest group over here. We don't get respect. So I think by adding the term colored, that encompasses a whole group of our ancestors. Now, mind you, of course, century after century, they change us to something. We've been everything except just an American, you know. But I think, what do y'all think? Let me know, guys. Do y'all think this, or what do y'all think? Is that the right thing to do? Putting colored people, original colored peoples, or Indian tribes, which I think that, and I'll have to put this in uppercase now that I just read it, because it represents a noun, not an adjective. So I'll put that in uppercase. Um, so I see Ready to Learn said that's perfect. Susu said, and not people without color. Bread Slayer said, looks good to me. Original colored people is the key. Okay. All right. I got some opinions here. Please click like, guys. I'm about to read a document. I want to get y'all opinion on this. It's sent out. Okay, but no, it's not sent out because change.org is not sending it out. So I'm going to start marketing it tomorrow. Change.org has not reached back out to me to tell me why it's not being, you know, why it's not being promoted. However, I'm not just going to let this go without being promoted. So I'm going to start promoting this tomorrow. I'm going to send it out via email, text message, and I'll be live on YouTube on tomorrow with a show. But I'm going to also put this on TikTok. Hey, Scotty. So, Scotty, you see the change that I made when we got off live yesterday? I added colored people to the American race, you know. So I think that was the missing little uh, thing. I have to I have in mind all of the people who are so bent on calling themselves African American. How will they feel when if they see a census and they don't see African American and they just see American? Will they know to click this? People are birthright citizens with origins in any of the original colored peoples or Indian tribes of North America. Will they know? And I hope they will, because I think if I put Aboriginal, that'll be too confusing. But Aboriginal it's automatically included in the term Indian. Can't put Negro people because that didn't include every darky over here. Every darky over here wasn't called a Negro, but every darky over here has been called colored for sure, for sure, for sure. But is this terminology that the government has banned, like they banned Negro? So they wouldn't put Negro back on the census anyway, because I think they banned the terminology. I don't think colored is banned. So, That's what I'm thinking. Um, so that's that, guys. Again, um, I was showing that, hey, we have. Well, actually, let me refresh it. See how many petition views. Okay, we have 499 petition views, and we're supposed to have 5,868. So I put in my stories on um, Instagram and Facebook for people to not contribute to this anymore, because the money that we've contributed so far, they're not giving us the views, you know. So we can't use FBA because FBA is copywritten. You can't use a copyright on the census. And FBA would confuse the shit out of people if it was on the actual census. But beyond that, even if it, that's just something that people just have to keep as a nickname on social media. Just like people are going to continue to use Black American, I'm sure. This right here, this census, and this just in general, this petition in general, is to just lay the groundwork so that federal and state agencies can make the change, and they can make the change on the census. Now, to me, when you start calling this description Americans, when you start calling this description people are birthright citizens with origins in any of the original colored people or Indian tribes of North America, when you start calling this description American, it's another level of respect. I feel like even the police who foreign police who come over here and be Americans for 1 year and then get to be on the police force, there's no way you can be have the same racist trope. You're gonna abuse an American. See, when you call yourself, well, how we call ourselves right now, they have their own mentality of what they think we are, and I think they are able to tie us back to slavery and being submissive, or massa, something that they have in their mind that's negative. And I think it has everything to do not only with what we call ourselves, but because we don't get any respect over here. We create all the culture, get zero respect. Everything cool about America came from us, yet we get zero respect. And you know, that's not fair. That's not fair at all. So, next thing I want to show y'all. This next thing I want to show y'all. There is this. Damn, I ain't mean to close that tab. Now that I see that, I meant to keep that tab open. I found this general law concerning Indians, guys. Look, look, look. I want to show y'all this. I want to show y'all this. This right here. It's in the Senate of the United States. Okay. I'm not going to read this entire document, but I just want to let y'all know that this is about Indians, okay? So nobody can be confused, right? They're talking about Indians. As you can see right here on my screen, 11,000 whites and half breeds in Hudson Bay Territory. Because this is what, like I was talking about yesterday, how they came and overtook the Hudson, all the territories that the Indians had in the Hudson Bay region, came and overtook all those territories. Um, and then there's these estimates of 140,000. They came and took all the fur trading areas, basically. And some of the Indians, Tackwood Indians, east of the Rocky Mountain, Blackfeet Indian, Plains tribe. Actually, the Blackfeet Indians were actually up in the Black Hills. That was their main territory, the Black Hills. Um, Indians and British Colombian territory, and then you have this white and half breeds. Okay. So I'm gonna scroll down now. The whole thing is really telling, but I'm gonna scroll down to Mr. Roebuck's testimony, and that name should sound familiar from Sears Roebuck. I'm looking for page 4. We'll start here. Okay, the committee. That's something else I wanted to read up here, though. Oh, my mule. Where is it? Rocky Mountains, $80,000. Something different. He was interviewing somebody else, and he asked them a question that I wanted to show y'all too. Let's see. Hold on, I'm gonna go back to it. Where is it? European encroachment. Okay. Is it not a known fact that the brown race disappears in proportion to the coming of the white race? He asked that already, right? And then down here, you have the actual Q&A. All right, let's look at this. You have visited most of the establishments of the Hudson Bay Company. Answer yes. And that is the only instance. Answer, that is the only one that. Wait. Do I want to start there? Because I just started in the middle. Whoa. Hold my mule, guys. Hold my mule. Yeah, I think starting here. Question by Mr. Robot. Speaking generally, have not all attempts to civilize the Indians in North America failed? Answer, they die out in the process. Some progress has been made. Question, they disappear? Answer, yes. Okay. And then that is Mr. Simpson. Question by Chairman. What number of Indians do you calculate are living in the whole of the Hudson Bay Territory? In the Indian Territory, Rupert's Land, we estimate 42,800. Then they're asking, how is it calculated? When was it calculated? This season, 1856. Okay, I'm just skipping through here. In the Indian Territory, east of the Rocky Mountains, there are 80,000. That's the Blackfeet. What is your system with regard of Indians in connection with fur trade? Our mode of management is this. The Indians are usually outfitted from the establishment in the fall of the year with supplies as will enable them to get through the winter in comfort and make them hunt. How do you pay them for furs which they bring? We pay them by barter entirely. Money is not known to the country. And by country, they're talking about this area. As we discussed yesterday, these territories, this time before the Civil War, was considered countries. Okay, I'm going to go down a little further to here. I'm going to go down to here. Okay. Question by Mr. Roebuck. Are you aware of any great settlement ever having been made by a half-caste population on the continent of America? Answer, no, I have not. Are you all aware of the fact that the brown population dies out as the white population advances? Answer, such is said to be a general statement, but still in our case, as regard to the Indian settlement parish, it is the other way. The population is increasing because the closer you get to the south, it's a little bit different, okay? How large is the population in that parish which you now speak of? Please share this, guys. This is very important. This is very important. Okay. It is one of 4 churches on the Red River. The Indian settlement parish has a population of 650. Question: Indians or half breeds? Answer: Indians. Question: How many half breeds are there? Answer: They come in the adjoining parish higher up the Red River. Question: How many half breeds have you in your diocese? Answer: A very large number, perhaps 1,500 or 2,000 on the Red River. Question: So that, taking them all together, adding the 2,000 half breeds to the 600 full blood Indians, you have 2,600 inhabitants with Indian blood in them. Answer: Yes. Question: Supposing colonization to be open to the white man, are you at all aware of the fact that, which has been proven by a long history in America, that whenever colonization by white men take place, the brown man disappears? Answer: It has been so in the United States. Has not it been so in Canada? Answer: It has been in a measure true in Canada. So now you have now you're exposing the Negroes in Canada, because these tribes was a continuation at one point before the actual annexation and creation of Canada. All right, so that in fact, in all parts of the territory of America in which a white man has appeared, the brown man has disappeared. Answer: I'm rather unwilling to believe it as regards one's own country, because I think the more of effort is made for the Indians, I am sure that the Indian effort is more successful in our country than in the States or in Canada. The whole of North America is not states yet. They only have a few states at this time, probably 13 states at this point. Everything else is still individual countries. Y'all get it. Please share the live. Please click like when you come in. Share the live. This is important. Okay, I know people are going to get it on playback because some people are asleep, but you guys got the bedtime story here first. Okay. Question: You are speaking of Indian effort applying to 2,600 persons. Answer: To much larger number of 8,000 Indians taking the whole territory. Question: But that territory, I take it, has nothing to do with colonization. Answer: No. Question: As to that part which is affected at all by colonization, from the very imperfect colonization to which it has been subject hitherto, your experience goes in favor of the fact that the brown man can resist the encroachments of the white man. Answer: It does. But of course, I may be a partial judge in the matter. Question: Have you at all contemplated the fact of the whole territory which is capable of colonization being thrown open to colonization? What would then be the effect upon the brown man of that altered circumstance? Answer: I think of it almost daily. My hope is that the Indian may be raised in an interval before the civilization sweeps westward. Because again, we on the west, Midwest, Canada area. That's what the Hudson Bay territory, the Hudson Bay Company came and took that area from the people who were trading furs, the Negro colored, the darkies in that area. Okay. As it must, and I've always feel that my object is to raise the people as well as give them Christianity. Okay. Okay, this is one way they came over here as missionaries, merchants. Okay. This is the missionary part. Get into the tribes, take note of who's there, study how they act, and report back. Okay. And if you can turn them into Christians, then they are now civilized. Okay. Question: do the habits of the brown man make him a colonist? Have you any evidence of the whole continent of America of a brown man being a colonist? Answer: there are Cherokees in the United States. Question: how long has that experiment how long has that experiment been tried? Answer: for some years with the Cherokees. Question: that is the solitary case of the brown man withstanding encroachment of a white man? Answer: my impression is that it has hardly been tried well yet, that we may be more successful than in previous cases. Question: supposing that the policy of the government were changed and the territory were open to colonization, should you then consider it a matter of very great importance to maintain the Indian population? We're going back and forth. They're calling the Indians brown people. They ain't calling them pinkfoot. They ain't calling them nothing but darkies. Okay? So just that we're clear. When I put colored races, I want us to be very clear who these documents are that we're not supposed to be meddling into. No one thought we would read these Senate hearings. No one thought we'd read these question and answers. They're boring, right? No one thought we'd be digging into this stuff, okay? Answer: very great question. Why? Answer: my own feelings is that by opening the whole country to free competition, the Indian would be sacrificed. Now, mind you, these are people that generations prior to this, their territory was taken by force. They were pushed off of their original lands, and their fur trade was taken. And then these people who planned on doing this are having meetings about these Indians that they were supposed to have been destroyed a long time ago. They thought was supposed to be been destroyed. Now they're dependent on you 100%. Now they're working for you 100%, and you're not paying them money, and you're paying them in barter instead of paying them what they deserve in money. Now, mind you, we've had paper money in America since forever. In the 1700s, we had paper money called continentals, and that was around for a while. And you also had, you know, coin currency. So you could have paid these people. So you took their land, pushed them off in those territories, those new territories, where they can still fur trade because that's all they know. However, the mentality of these people, now that you've pushed them off their land, taken what they have, now you're studying them. Now you're studying them and you're reporting back and talking about it. Okay, my own feelings is that by opening the whole country to free competition, the Indian would be sacrificed. Question: he would disappear? Answer: yes. But I think that if we can keep the southern parts as a colony or province, then the Indian may still be preserved. Southern, they're talking about everything below the Mason-Dixon line, east of the Mississippi River. Okay? Why would they disappear? Is it because a more energetic, a more civilized, in fact, a more intellectual man would come in competition with him? Answer: because of baits, which will be held out. There would be an abundance of spirituous liquor brought in. Guys, please share the live. Okay? Please, please share the live. Share the live, support the channel. This is very, very important. Very important. But spirituous liquor affects the health of the white man as it does that of the brown man, does it? But he fails more readily beneath the temptation. Question, that is to say, he is less civilized? Answer, yes. The more civilized man conquers the less civilized man. He does? Question, do you think it advisable to maintain the less civilized man in the community, which will hold the more civilized man? Okay, let me read this over. Do you think it advisable to maintain the less civilized man in the community, which will hold the more civilized man? Answer, I should be very sorry to forfeit the Indians in the territory. That is not my question. The question is, do you think it would be advisable to keep the territory in such a condition as should maintain the existence of a less civilized population when it would really maintain a more civilized population? If that don't sound familiar to y'all, I don't know what. It's giving the projects. It's giving create a project over here, put the Negroes in the project and study their every move. Study what they create. Study how they overcome us not maintaining the building. Study how they overcome us not fixing any maintenance issues. Study how they overcome it. Study how they overcome when we put liquor stores on every corner of their blocks. Study how much they drink. Study how they act when they get drunk. Study them. That's what it's giving. That's exactly what it's giving. If I thought that Indians were to be fortified, I would rather keep them more civilized. Question, that is to say, you would prevent the colonization by the more civilized man to maintain the existence of the less civilized man? Answer, I think each might have his position in the country, the civilized in the south and the Indians further north. Question, does it not come to the conclusion to which I have endeavored to draw you? Answer, I should be sorry to allow it as regards to the Indians. Question, though your sympathies may go thus, does not the reasoning lead you to the conclusion to which I wish to bring you? Answer, I hope the experiments may yet save the Indian. Question by the chairman. Do you think the true policy will be to establish just and equitable laws as between the brown and the white man and to leave the rest to take its course? Yes, please click like in here. Thank you guys for clicking like. Continue to click like, guys. Continue to share the live. You could just share. Okay? Somebody needs to hear this, okay? My own feelings would be in favor of a settlement, a colony, or a province in the southern part of the territory, stretching from Lake Superior to the Rocky Mountains. Question, not asking whether a man was brown or white, provided he obey the laws and behave well. Answer, I think so, and I think the Indian might still be saved. Question, from what you have seen of the half-breed race, okay, just to let you know, all that brown talk we just was talking above, they wasn't talking about the mulattoes yet. They wasn't talking about our mixed babies yet. Now we talk about our mixed babies, okay? From what you have seen of the half-breed race at the Red River, Do you despair of their being useful and prosperous members of a civilized community under proper law? Answer: I do not despair in the smallest degree of them. Question: Are you aware of the circumstance under which the Indians within the province of Canada are at the present moment? Answer: I know of one spot on Lake Huron where they are. Question: It is not the case that some Indians have landed property to a considerable extent and even funded property? Answer: I think that is more of the case among Cherokees in America. Question by Mr. Roebuck. Still, I think you have expressed an opinion that if there were free colonization, the white man would overrun the brown man. Answer: yes, if there were free over the whole country. Question: therefore, if there were equal laws for the brown man and the white man, the brown man would disappear? Answer: yes, unless it were controlled in some way. And now you possibly got the creation of redlining. We're going to put these people in this area because we've already done everything to take their heirs property away. So we're going to redline them, right? Push them over here in this section. And then we're going to study this red line experiment. And then years after that, we're going to do a whole nother experiment. And that's going to be called the projects. And that's an even smaller area. So we're going to make these projects, put them over here in these projects. And of course, we're not talking about all Indians because they're not even talking about all Indians. Even they have separated the mentality of whether a person is civilized or uncivilized, whether they are half breeds or full breeds. Okay. The committee forbore to make any further extracts from a volume of testimony. What is here adduced is enough to show that even in those great regions where advancing settlements of white men have made no perceptible encroachments upon Indian possessions of the territory, and where spirituous liquors have been excluded, the feebler race by the force of mere contact with the superior. Now, who have they been calling inferior this whole time? You can go through history and see who they are talking about. We don't even have to play semantics here. The superior is slowly but surely falling into decay, notwithstanding both interest and policy, as well as humanity, plead with the Hudson Bay Company for their preservation. Mind you, you wouldn't have to plead for their preservation if you would have left them alone. They were on their own land, in their own country, minding their own business, doing their own fur trade. And the Hudson Bay Company went to literal war with them. I'm talking about generals from England, guys. Whole armies came over here just in that territory. Again, there's no Instagram, there's no cell phone. They went in through Canada, through a portion of Canada, and came down and went to war with these Indians. Took everything they had, moved them around, then start studying whether they are superior and inferior. And then it goes on. It goes on because it actually talks about in one of the interviews, I don't know who was being interviewed, but it talks about this is about the Six Nation, but it really talks about how the Indians, now that they're being moved around, how they don't want to work, and they're he's saying in the interview that the Indians are procrastinators basically, and they don't want to do any hard labor, and he thinks it's because They are basically afraid that they're going to do all this hard work and we're just going to take it from them again. Take the land, that whatever land they build up, we're just going to take it from them again. Like they was legit doing experiments and talking about it. I don't know whether that reminds you guys of anything that's going on today or what, baby. And as you can see, the Monrovians have entered the chat. You know, Six Nations, of course, they're bringing liquor just like they do to us today. They only do this to one group of Indians. Thank you so much for the super chat, whoever that was. I appreciate the support. I appreciate the support. Gonna need all that because I am going to start marketing tomorrow. So I really appreciate that. Susu, thank you. She said reading to us. Thank you so much for the support. I really appreciate that. Um, Studying us, guys, pushing us in areas, putting liquor everywhere to see whether we'll fall to temptation, and then studying how we act on this poison that they just literally put upon us. And you know, it's so crazy. You know what's so crazy? The fact that they have been doing this since they got here. Because mind you, the liquor that we was making was more so, we made corn liquor, we made fruit liquor. That's what our liquors was. Right? So our bodies was literally, you know, corn liquor and liquors from fruit, which some people are still making today, whiskey and the even the wines. They was making the wines from the muscadine grapes. That stuff did not poison our system. But whatever spirituous liquors that they were bringing was clearly something totally different. It was something totally different that they were giving to our people. And I feel like that's what they're giving our people today. You know, a lot of the liquor in these stores, it does make people act a certain kind of way. And to see that they've literally been tracking the darkies of the world and how our bodies react to liquor and how they could forcibly take stuff from us, and all they got to do is go to war with us. You know, all they got to do is put liquor, get us drunk, go to war, take everything. And when they take everything, they sit there and study how we react to what they take. And then they put these temptations. And as you can see, we're talking about the Aborigines in this document. So I don't want anybody to get it twisted. I did not make this document up. It's not a figment of my imagination nor yours. The darkies of the world is what this document is about. It's only talking about two people, white men and black men, coloreds, darkies, whatever you want to call us today. Okay? Put liquor in our areas. Take everything we got. Watch how we respond to temptation. And then sit back and talk about it and kiki and see what they're going to take next. Will intentionally get you drunk just to study you, just to study how you could be destroyed next. There are no documents, guys, where, and I haven't found them. There are no documents where Indians was sitting here putting any temptation in front of colonizers and then studying how the colonizers were acting. In fact, there are no Indians and no documents that I have read that went to somebody else's land and took it over. Went to somebody else's land, bought liquor, took it over, then blamed the person who they sat here and gave the liquor to for acting crazy. You just poisoned me, sir. You just poisoned my chief. You just took our land. How do you suppose I act? How do you suppose I act? And it's so funny. They took the land from us today, sell the land back to us via mortgages. And wherever we buy the most mortgages at, guys, wherever we buy the most mortgages, thank you so much for the super chat, Rodney. I appreciate it. So, sounds like gentrification to me. Thank you. Thank you. Wherever we buy the most mortgages at these days, guys, guess what they're gonna put on the corner of wherever we are, will chase us all around America to find our neighborhoods, find where the largest conglomerate of us are. They're fine where we are. Guess what they're gonna put in the neighborhood? Y'all can put it in the chat. What are they gonna put in the neighborhood? Time they chase us all across America in every little corner of the world. What will they put in our neighborhood? It's crazy. Various schemes, and I was really done reading, but it's just some more stuff. I'm just gonna read some more stuff. Um, Various schemes have from time to time been proposed for the appointment of lands to the Indians. An examination of these several suggestions will show that they may be divided into two classes. The one advising the total seclusion of the Aboriginals from contamination by white settlers, the other hoping by constant intercourse to assimilate the habits of the two races. Uppity Negroes is what we like to call it. Okay? The separatist system has been adopted as a measure of government policy in some of the states and has been tried on a small scale in this very country. In this last instance, the location of the Indians was intended to be their permanent home. The same objectives do not, therefore, lie, at least in the same degree, against it as urged with so much justice against the course pursued towards the Indians in the western states, where they are from time to time forced to abandon their homesteads. Forced to abandon their homesteads. Did that not sound like when they created sundown towns and they sent the KKK, the military, I mean the KKK, I mean the military in with all those rifles and was forcing Negroes out their hometown by under the threat of violence, and then said, "Oh no, no, they just abandoned these homes. No, they just abandoned this neighborhood. That's why we came and took it." Where they are from time to time forced to abandon their homesteads and retire before the advancing waves of white immigration. Boy, if that don't sound like what they did, I mean, to our ancestors just one generation ago. This was not long ago when they pulled this on us, guys. It wasn't long ago. Now, either, and again, while everybody trying to pretend like, the darkies aren't the aboriginals, there's nowhere on the planet where there is a group of aboriginals who weren't darkies. And just like this expose that only 5,000 copies was made, just like this expose of them talking back and forth with each other, making their little sneaky plans. This wasn't supposed to get out just like they were studying us then, they're studying us now. The dark people, the darkies, okay? And everybody in between. This same group right here was also talking about half breeds for those who came in a little late. They're talking about two people in this legislation. How they're going to create laws literally based on what they just did to us and how we just reacted by them taking our land and pushing us. Thank you, people putting liquor stores in the chat. Okay, we on a little bit delay here, but but yeah, sitting here studying how we are reacting to things and then making laws based on our reaction to things, laws that basically keep us in a certain state. You know, it's, you know, you look at this shit. Look at this shit, y'all. The natural apathy of the Indian character and their inherent desire to wander without restraint hindered their advancement, while their position as minors, freeing them from all responsibility, leads them to abandon self reliance and trust to government to help them in all their efforts. No, pushing us off the land, taking all our shit, taking our fur companies, taking what we was using to feed our families is what hinders our advancement. You see how the devil works. You see, you see how the devil works. They push you off the land. They push you off the land. Push us off the land. Then say, oh, their natural apathy to wander. Bitch, you just took my home. What you mean, natural apathy to wander? I'm homeless. You think I want to be out here? It's cold. You took my house. You took our whole neighborhood. You took our whole city over. Y'all, this is crazy. When I say the people were studying us then and are still studying us now, I don't want anybody to be confused. The Siberians have never had this treatment. When they came up here, they went straight to the reservation with their teepees, and they have not moved since. They were not the ones getting pushed hither thither. They're not brown. No shade of brown. Even the Latinos that y'all call brown today, that really start calling themselves brown, and the paid influencers that they start saying black and brown. Them people ain't brown. They ain't even mulatto. I could put a mulatto next to a Latino, and I could clearly tell who's who. I could put a half breed next to a Latino, and I still tell who's who. And you got to think, back in this day, there was no makeup. There was no sun tanning solutions. When you was in that sun, your ass was burnt if you was white, and that skin was red blisters. Okay? They're talking about brown darkies. That's who they're talking about. Brown like the color of my skin when I look down at it. That's what they're talking about. Copper. Okay? Child, I've never met. If you think, let me tell you something. See, this should have went out to the Negro community as a memo before we get to saying, before we get to, falling in love with people. You can't help who you love. And you do not know who is still studying. You do not know where people are still studying us or not. We don't know. We do not know whether people are being put in our life to trip us up to fall in love, honeypots. We don't know where this honeypot thing comes. That could be a whole study. That could be a whole, and I've always had this theory. That whole Latino pushing that whole Latino, those Latino girls in front of black men. I always felt like that was done as a study because they wanted to mix the genetics of black men into the Latino race, which is a very new race. I always felt like they wanted to mix genetics with that. And that's why there was such a push. Like they was all over the TV, all over the music videos. They used the music industry to do that. And but had this memo went out and people would have seen how long they had been scheming and plotting on us, we would be more careful. We will be way more careful. You know, they're literally calling it a scheme. Like, because they're talking amongst themselves. This is not nothing that our people are looking at. This is not nothing that we're watching. Okay, this is nothing that we're watching. And look, they're using the term native too. So what have we read in this just one meeting? This is just one meeting with the parliament. They've called us aborigines, darkies, and natives all in one meeting. Oh, yeah, we could just talk amongst ourselves. Only 5,000 copies of this will be. The Negroes will never see. Oh, the darkies. Oh, don't worry about them. They'll never see this. They'll never see it. The niggers can barely read. We're going to give them some liquor. You'll get them liquored up. We'll get them all liquored up and just watch them go. It's crazy. Crazy. It is very crazy, guys, and it's very unfortunate. Um, I I just wanted to reach y'all this little bedtime story. I just wanted to reach out this little bedtime story. How they are just always banking on us to fall prey to their temptations that they literally put in front of us so we can trip up. It's just wild. It's just wild. Anyway, guys, that's all I wanted to show y'all. This was a story about the brown man and the white man. This was a story about the brown man and the white man. I hope y'all enjoyed this bedtime story. Um, Again, we have the petition out. We need to be called Americans at this point. True Americans. Not no name in front of. We don't need nothing. We're the only ones over here that has ever added anything. We're the only ones over here that has ever been studied because you know that we are the original people on this land, and it's about time that we get some kind of respect over here on this land. I don't know how far this can go. I don't know how far I could take this myself, but I do plan on this going all the way to the Supreme Court. I don't know how long it's gonna take. I don't know. I have looked up cases um, that the U.S. Census is currently being sued by so many people. I don't think we have to sue the U.S. Census because what we need has already been written in law. And there are so many examples in case anybody want to ever question whether the Aboriginal indigenous people are actually dark skinned. There's so many meetings like this. It's hidden in these meetings where they're literally calling us darkies in these meetings. Like I'm saying darky now. I've literally read the shit. Darkies. And you would think some of these records would be scratched out and all of that. No, 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 no. They're just keeping it up because they just don't think we'll read it. We're too distracted. They keep us arguing about something every week. They keep us in a different thing in front of us. It's P. Diddy, it's Epstein, it's all this running around our minds every week. Our kids, our nieces, our nephews, our wife, everybody's arguing. They want to keep us in the same, well, we can never find these documents and take the time and read. See, I'm a person, I smell the roses, I smell coffee, I look at the birds, I do my work, I mind my business, and I read. Because I see everything that's going on. I see plays being ran all the time. And I know there's one group of people that is minding their business, and it's another group of people that do not sleep for planning bullshit against us. And I can't understand for the life of me why. But then when I read documents like this, I see they will never stop doing this shit because they have a plan and they have not deviated from that plan. A lot of them have not. I'm not saying all, but a lot of them have not. It's a clear difference even between white people these days. You could tell who is who between white people these. You could tell the white people who have not deviated from the plan and the white people who just are in just as much chaos as most of us are. They're in just as much chaos as the brownies are these days. So I wouldn't be surprised if they've been thrown into the same pot but as some kind of whatever comes after octoroon, hexaroon, where the color is all the way wiped out. But they got a fifth great grandmother somewhere. Well, you might still have some color if your fifth grade. No, you might not have no color if your fifth great grandmother is black and everything else is white. You won't have no color left. So they probably done threw that group of white people because you could tell there's some white people who are kind of like got a heart like ours. Some, it's a little finger snap of them that seem like they just not for the bullshit. But it's more of them that pretend like stuff like this had never happened to our people and that we just crash out for no good reason. They just act like we crash out for no good reason, and this stuff never happened to our people, never happened to us. We have generations upon generations of trauma, and that trauma is beyond slavery. It's way beyond slavery because these people that they just pushed off this land were not slaves. They actually had land. They pushed them off. They had an industry. They pushed them off by force, and then started studying them. So that's to me. Ain't nothing about that is right. Nothing about that is right to me. Nothing about that is right to me. So anyway, guys, that's all I had for tonight. I just literally want to come and tell y'all about the petition and not to give to the petition because we don't know where the money is going. It's not going to us. It's not going to them promoting the petition like they said. I don't have any access to the money. It's all through change.org. I even paid change.org in order for them to promote it. They haven't started promoting it as of yet. So I'm going to start promotions on tomorrow. And yeah, we'll see how far this goes. So if you please just sign the petition, don't click donate, click out of that and just click share. So just sign the petition and share it. I'm not gonna be able to stop some people from donating. I don't. There's not even a way for me to like change and take the box out. Like I can't even take the box out. I can't even take it off. I can't even do nothing because they control all of that. So I don't really. I'm waiting on them to contact me back about when they're going to start promotion. We don't need to wait a week. We need to strike while the iron's hot. So, like I said, I'll start sending out emails tomorrow tomorrow morning I'll send out an email promoting it myself, and then we'll go from there. I think this is very great. I think people, I think it's about time. I just think it's about time. Oh, you said you donated before you read the message. Oh, that's okay. A lot of people did, including myself. Including myself. Shoot, I wish I would have gave that money to TikTok and let TikTok. Cause one thing about TikTok, when you put some money in TikTok, they will promote your stuff. They will push your stuff in front of people. I think you have to donate or share in order to complete the signature. Yes, that's what I'm saying. Just just share instead of donating. I don't know why they have it like that, but they tell us on our side, like I just showed y'all, that they'll donate. So they're supposed to act as marketing for these petitions. And I see other people's petitions. You know, I see other people's petitions. I just don't see ours. So anyway, if people want to support, they can support in another way. Um, I don't know right now. I'm just gonna put a little bit money on TikTok tomorrow to see how far it goes. But um, yeah, so that's that, guys. Anyway, thank y'all for joining. Please continue to share the link to the petition, and like I said, we'll see how far it goes. We will see how far it goes. I donated because I don't have social media to share. Oh, I get it. Ready to learn. I get it. 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 I mean, if y'all don't have social media, just copy the link and text it to a random, brownie in your phone, brown mulatto, all the way up to octoroon, because clearly they are colored as well. They are colored as well, you know. But anyway, guys, that's all I have. If all hearts and minds are clear, that was my bedtime story for tonight. We got our petition going. I may even try to get it to some content creators that I think will be down for the cause. And just we'll just see how far it goes, man. We'll see how far it goes. I love y'all. Thanks for supporting. Good night.